Hey, and good afternoon. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning, and we've got the roundup of today's top stories. It's Wednesday, January 7th. People who work or live in downtown Seattle could see protests starting at 6 o'clock tonight. Protesters plan to gather outside of the federal building in Seattle against immigration and customs enforcement. Similar plans are happening in Tacoma, Spokane, New York City, outside the White House, and in a growing list of cities and towns nationwide. Protesters are calling attention to an ICE agent fatally shooting a woman in Minneapolis this morning. Seattle organizers say deaths at the hands of ICE cannot continue to happen. Federal officials have claimed the ICE agent shot in self-defense, but Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says the officer acted recklessly, shooting a woman who was driving. At SeaTac Airport, a migrant mother and her 2 young children are with their bags prepared to self-deport. Darlene came to the U.S. in 2021 from Guatemala. We're only using her first name due to her legal status. Her asylum case fell through, and now Darlene and her kids must leave the country. She says she was at the airport early this morning with her 10-year-old son and 3-year-old daughter. The son had been attending a public school in South Seattle. Darlene spoke to KUOW through an interpreter.
I've been telling the kids that, we're going to get there and we're not sure what awaits us, but that we have to be strong and that, God will protect us, that things will turn out okay.
Advocates in Seattle say they helped Darlene pay for a motel room for when they return. The family missed their flight this morning while waiting for an ICE agent to remove Darlene's ankle monitor. So now they're flying out tonight. Now to Olympia, where there could be a fight over voter districts bubbling up. Democrats are proposing making it easier to redraw congressional maps as red and blue states attempted last year. Scott Greenstone has more.
To change the state constitution and redraw congressional maps sooner than 5 years from now, you'd need 2/3 of state legislators to put the change to a vote of the people. Joe Fitzgibbon, the Democrats' majority leader in the House, submitted a resolution to do that this week.
Yeah, it's not going to pass.
Instead, it's to start the conversation. If Democrats win a 2/3 majority in the legislature this fall, they could ask voters to let them redraw the districts to offset states like Texas, which are gerrymandering their maps to further favor Republicans.
That they'll stop at nothing, and states that, have the ability to fight back are fighting back, as, California and potentially Virginia.
Washington's 2 Republican congressmen did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Scott Greenstone, KUOW News.
Plow trucks are busy at work today as snow continues to fall in the Cascade Mountains. Already this week's winter storm has dumped 21 inches on Stevens Pass and on Paradise at Mount Rainier, 19 inches at Mount Baker, and 10 on Snoqualmie Pass. WashDOT's clearing roads and asking drivers to go slowly and carry chains. Another foot or two could fall by tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Low-lying areas around 700 feet elevation could get snow flurries overnight and tomorrow morning. To our climate beat, where we've got a story about research hanging by a thread. But first, a climate error of sorts. Washington state officials have issued a correction after exaggerating the benefits of state spending to curb climate change. Proceeds from state auctions of carbon dioxide are not stopping as much pollution as officials have been claiming. John Ryan reports.
Washington has been auctioning off the right to emit large amounts of climate-harming gases for 2 years now. Proceeds go to fight climate change or help communities hard hit by pollution. In November, a state report said auction proceeds so far would prevent over 8 million tons of pollution. That claim was nearly 30 times higher than the reality due to a data entry error. The conservative Washington Policy Center caught the error, and the Commerce Department acknowledged it on Tuesday. The conservative group says it shows the state's climate programs are ineffective. Republican legislators and Democratic Governor Bob Ferguson have set their eyes on that deep pool of auction cash. They're proposing to spend much of it on non-climate purposes, including lowering tax bills and utility bills. John Ryan, KUOW News.
The Trump administration says it wants to close a climate research center in Boulder, Colorado, and it's causing worry among atmospheric scientists all over the world, including here. More from KNKX environment reporter Bellamy Palethorpe.
The National Center for Atmospheric Research, or NCAR, was founded by the National Science Foundation in 1960. It's run by a consortium of universities, including the University of Washington. Among the breakthroughs it's credited with is the detection of microbursts and wind shear that can cause plane crashes. It lends support to climate research projects all over the world. The Trump administration says it's one of the largest sources of climate alarmism in the country.
As a climate scientist, I don't think that talking about climate change is hysterical. I think it's entirely practical.
Abigail Swan is a professor of atmospheric sciences and biology at the University of Washington and the UW's current representative to the consortium.
We want to know what's coming and we want to be able to prepare for it so that we can stay safe.
Swan says forecasts of extreme weather like the recent flooding on local rivers benefit directly from NCAR's support. Trump's Office of Management and Budget says it may move some of the center's work to other locations. I'm Bellamy Palethorpe reporting.
The Seattle City Council has a new president today. Joy Hollingsworth is the first Black woman to lead the council. Her colleagues unanimously selected her this week. Hollingsworth represents District 3, which includes Capitol Hill and the Central District. Also in Seattle, we now have our first Black city attorney, Erica Evans. At her swearing in, Evans said her dedication to public service comes from her grandfather, Lee Evans, who was one of several Black athletes who threatened to boycott the 1968 Summer Olympics. After winning 2 gold medals, he raised his fist at the presentation ceremony.
You see, what my grandfather knew at the time, that it wasn't about the medals. It was about sacrifice and making a risk to risk it all, just so that things might be better for other people. It is that same legacy that I carry forward and why I am standing here today.
Evans previously served as assistant U.S. attorney and helped prosecute January 6th insurrectionists. Evans says she plans to set up a new community court as an alternative to prosecution. Big deals were made in the airplane industry this week. Alaska Airlines says it's ordering more than 100 new Boeing airplanes. Alaska says it's the biggest order it's ever placed. This comes as Alaska has been adding routes both to Asia and Europe. The order includes 737 MAX 10 models and 787 10 models. Finally today, family and friends of University of Washington goalkeeper Mia Hamant gathered Tuesday to celebrate her life. The 21-year-old died from a rare kidney cancer in November, and Noelle Gasca has this remembrance.
Hamant's talents as an electric and relentless goalkeeper were highlighted by her coach and teammates during a celebration of life at Alaska Airlines Arena on the UW campus. One of her teammates, Kelsey Branson, said Mia's presence off the field was just as memorable. She'll never forget her best friend's ability to face the heavy parts of life with humor.
Mia had shared with my roommates and I one day, "How can I be sad when there's so much happening around me? So much good happening around me. It's just cancer."
Hamant was considered a rising star in the world of collegiate soccer and led the Big Ten in saves before her diagnosis forced her to sit out her senior year. Her coach called her one of the greatest goalkeepers in UW history. Noelle Gasca, KUOW News.
Next time on Seattle Now, Washington State Ferries has 2 retired boats sitting on the market, and they're having a tough time selling them.
Remember the other saying about boats, which is a boat is a hole in the water that you pour your money into.
Yeah.
And that would be the case with these. I mean, and especially since they've been sitting in salt water at the dock for the last 4 years. They're just coated on the bottom with sea life.
Hear more Thursday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst. I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See you later.